computer. Hi there. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, Melissa. How are you?
Good. It's so good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thank you. It's been a kind of a crazy day, but I'm glad I'm here chatting with
Uh,
you. Yeah. So I'll just give a quick intro to anyone who hasn't watched us before. If you're joining us for the first time, I'm Melissa McLeod, and I'm the shop owner at the Wool and the Floss in Grosse Pointe, Michigan, just outside of Detroit. And along with my partner in crime, Megan Holmes at the Needlepoint Clubhouse. We're the Pointing It Out team, and we have more fun doing this little thing that we do and have the pleasure of introducing our audience to all these fabulous, wonderful, incredible needlepoint celebrities. So today I probably have one of the younger people in the industry, but yet been in the industry for quite a while, which is a lovely combination
yeah.
um, of Tess. And you know what? I didn't ask you this
Oh,
before.
it's okay. Yeah. It's
Do you go?
Kvale.
Okay.
Kvale. Yep.
I I wasn't sure if business wise you still used your.
Maiden name.
Do we still
Yeah.
use your maiden name? Is that PC anymore? I don't know what's PC anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, so most importantly, it's Tess Cavalli of Hello Tess Designs.
Yep.
Um, and I'm so excited to see you. We haven't
I'm
seen
so
each
excited
other
to see you.
in
I
person.
see you every week, basically, like multiple times a week, but we can be face to face seeing each other
I know.
today.
Well, and I think the last time I saw you kind of in this realm was when you saved the day between
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh.
another famous needlepoint celebrity who happens to be your mother, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But it showed me how resourceful you are, so I was impressed with that.
Yeah.
So
I felt bad for you guys. I was like, I gotta see what I can do here to help out.
we'll talk about that in a minute, so we can
Okay.
enlighten people who weren't part of it, because it's kind of a funny little story. But
Yeah.
in any event, Tess is the designer for Hello Tess Designs, and tell me what you want to tell me. Tell me about your background, your education, where you live,
Sure.
your family, like whatever you want to share.
Okay. Well, right now I live in Phoenix, Arizona, with my husband and our now 8 month old. She just turned 8 months yesterday, so
Cute.
pretty crazy. But I grew up. I've actually moved around quite a bit in my life, and um, I grew up in Ossining, New York, which is in Westchester County, right outside of New York City. And then we moved to Connecticut when I was about 15. So I went to high school in New Canaan, Connecticut.
Did.
Um, and then I did some college at Eastern Connecticut State University, but then I ended up moving out to Los Angeles. And I lived there for like 3 or 4 years, like 3.5. And I actually I did work in advertising when I was out there. I worked for this really cool startup company, like an ad agency. And it was really a cool experience. We started from like the ground up, and then it turned into this really fun, successful, crazy, like we sold the company, and it was like really, really cool learning experience. So that's sort of what I did before the needlepoint stuff.
Were you on the creative side then, or were you more on the?
No, I was, yeah, I did like the ad ops, which is like the operations of like uploading the creatives. And so we had somebody who did the creatives, but they were like a graphic designer, basically.
Well, and I always think in a lot of ways that's what a needlepoint artist is. So it's interesting
Yeah.
on the business side of
Right.
the creative industry. So
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, and so then I've moved around quite a bit, and I lived in Manhattan for a while, and then our connection, I'd moved down to New Orleans,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
lived there for 4 years, and that's where I met my husband.
Which I never knew that till you showed a picture of him when he was wearing a Tulane
Oh,
T-shirt.
hey,
Wait,
I was,
wait,
yeah,
T-shirt. Since my
yeah,
daughter was there and I went there, it was
right.
fun to see that.
Yeah. So that's we like just met randomly through like mutual friends, and I had just moved down there on a whim. Basically, it was just like I had a friend who lived there, and I kept visiting, and then I like couldn't stop visiting because I just loved it so much, and I was like, I think I gotta move here. So and then we moved from there to Boston, um, and then from Boston to Phoenix, and that's where we are now.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I should ask you this, but you did mention it to me earlier. How old are you?
I'm 36. Sorry, I have to take a second there. But I
I
was
know.
laughing tonight because
Sorry. You know
I
you're
couldn't
getting old.
remember how old I was. I was like, I don't know how old I am, but yeah, I'm 36.
So that's a lot of living you've done in 36.
Yeah.
That's really sounds really great. I feel very like boring next to you, but that's
Oh,
okay.
it's been an adventure. It's been kind of crazy, but it's been good.
Good. And what took you to Phoenix?
So, with my husband's job, we got relocated to Boston and then we got relocated to here.
Got it. Okay. So
Yeah.
is there another city in your sights, do you
There
think?
might be, yeah. Um, we're not sure exactly what city, but there might be a move at some point. Yeah. So
Well,
we're
I'm rooting
excited.
for Detroit.
What's that?
I'm rooting for Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, well, he works for the VA and there's a regional office in basically every state. So that's sort of how we've been able to kind of do it. So you never know. We'll see.
Keeps life interesting for sure,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Good, good. So tell us about the stitching side of your world.
Yeah. So I learned to stitch in 2014, and
Oh,
that's when I was living in New Orleans. Um,
I just guess like because you're and we I keep alluding to your mom, but we'll get to
yeah,
that. But because your mom has stitched, I just figured you'd been stitching since you
stitching
were
a lot longer.
5 years old or something like that.
Yeah, no, I like I don't know why I just never had interest for as long as I did. But I actually was like I went through I was sort of in like a weird rough patch in life, and um, I reached out. I was like trying to find like some creative outlet, and I just like couldn't. I like tried so many different things. I was like making pin back buttons for a little while and like selling them at the like art fairs and markets and stuff, and that was fun. But like I tried so many different things, and then I was talking to my mom one day, and she was like, because I grew up with her. I grew up in needlepoint shops, and so
Pause
she's like,
for a
no,
second.
yeah,
I feel like we're keep glossing over this thing.
yeah,
So we're gonna get back to you because you're the important one right now. But your mom is Beth Nagel, who is the designer of Doolittle Stitchery. And if anyone's watched the podcast for any length of time, Megan had a wonderful chat with her about 3 months ago, I think. I don't know. I have no sense of time anymore. But
something.
go back on the YouTube feed and you'll find Beth, who is a phenomenal artist and a phenomenal person, and has been designing needlepoint for 30 years, I think I recall.
Yeah,
So,
far back as I remember, she had like her desk set up like in our living room when I was like very little, and I would hear her like that noise when designers blow through a needlepoint canvas, like that noise. So I used to blow on my drawings at school because I was mimicking my mom blowing through needlepoint canvas. Like the teacher was like, "Your daughter's blowing on her drawings," and my mom was like,
it's
"Okay,
a sign of something. She's like,
yeah,
there is. It's a sign of her being a
yeah."
needlepoint designer's kid.
I thought that's what you did. But
So funny.
so yeah, so she and I grew up with her stitching and painting. So um, I guess it took
Never had any
me.
interest until, but never had any interest
No, I
yourself.
mean, I didn't like think it was not cool, or like I just wasn't. I don't know. I just never like wanted. I just never asked to learn, I guess. So
Probably have
then,
interest. She just was like,
yeah,
she's like, oh, this is kind of fun, but then she just walks on by.
right. But then I like when she taught me in 2014, I was like, I mean, it just clicked. I was like, this is it.
Funny because I think I met you. I'm trying to think when I opened the shop. I think I opened the shop in 2014. So I met you like right after that, like at my first show, which might have
Yeah,
been the next year. So we'll have to get to like when you rolled out your line. We'll get there. But that's
yeah.
so I just figured you'd just been around forever and I was the new girl. So there we go.
Oh wow, it's crazy, right?
I know. I know. So you started
So
studying then.
yeah, and then I went to visit Vermont. I went to visit my mom and my family, and she saw how I took to stitching, and she decided to see if I would be interested in stitch painting or if I'd like it or if and I like fell in love with stitch painting. She actually kind of like started putting me to work for her.
So can let's back up for a second. I think that some of our newer stitchers
Mhm.
in this crazy world we're in. Um, just don't totally, I mean, I don't want to be insulting to anyone, but you don't just like draw a pretty picture on a gridded canvas. That some people can do
A lot of,
that,
yeah.
but that makes it very difficult to stitch. So as a shop owner, I'm always looking for stitch painted canvases, and I'm going to let you explain what that is.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically counted out. So it's, you sort of have to think of it as like a pixelated photograph, like a really, when you think of something, oh, that would be great on a needlepoint canvas, you have to sort of like switch to, okay, would it be great on a needlepoint canvas? Because it's very, like, it's very pixelated, you know, and so like circles are a little bit hard because like you know, stuff like that. So
Because
I
you're always
basically,
get your paintbrush on exactly on an intersection
right,
as opposed to just painting on it and hoping it
exactly.
works out.
Yes, it's very mathematical, basically.
Oh,
So what's that?
but that's probably why I love stitching because
Yeah,
I'm very mathematical. It's like the joining of art and math, and
yes.
artistic people are like, I have no idea, that's not right.
Yeah.
But I love it both.
I
So
yeah, it's great. That's what I love about it too. So basically she gave me like a photocopy of one of her, probably one of her rounds, I think it was, the one of the mountain, like the snow mountain.
okay.
Um, and I just sat there and I started, and I was very slow. Like it was, you know, at the first it was just like, okay, you have to like look and count and one, two, three. And it was just like a really slow process, but you get faster as you go.
Right, right.
So, but it felt just as meditative for me as stitching did, which was pretty cool. I
Nice,
loved
nice.
it. Yeah.
Good. So you went
And
from
then,
helping her out that
yeah.
somehow to where you are today. So how did we get from point A to point B?
Yeah. So I started a line with Brooke McGowan, of who's Thorne Alexander now. And we started a line, Tess and Thorne, which is we were, you know, partners in the beginning. And I just randomly met her in Dorset, Vermont, because she lives there. And she had been talking to Maria, the local needlepoint shop owner. And so we sort of just got connected. And then, so we did our thing for, I think it was, yeah, about 2 years. We started in like 2015. And then, and then at 2017, we sort of decided we wanted to go like our own separate ways. And so like two lines kind of
Right.
came from that.
So it was
Um,
Tess Thorne, and then she became Thorne Alexander. And didn't you have another name before
yeah,
to
which
be?
is so confusing. I know it's crazy. So
Well,
I
you
was
can know
pewter,
it. Mhm.
yeah, pewter and pine.
That's right.
Right. And then I just did a rebrand, I think like 2 years ago about that to Hello Tess.
So where did the name? I know it's a little irrelevant now, but I'm curious. Where did the name Pewter and Pine come from?
So pewter is like, what was it? Oh, it was a silk and ivory color.
Yes.
And I basically picked that second because I have a pine tree tattoo. I don't know if you can see that.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I wanted to do something with pine. And I was like, that sounds okay. But it didn't like, I kind of felt like I rushed it a little. I didn't like, I mean, I liked it enough, but but when I rebranded, I wanted something that like I really loved, you know, and felt like represented my line and all that.
Um, okay, so we've talked just a dash about Dorset, so I just have to like one of the things that I always say is Texas is the needlepoint capital of the world because it seems like there is so many shops, stitchers, designers that are in Texas. But
Yeah.
if we talk about the needlepoint capital of the world, which of course doesn't really exist, so this is a
Yeah.
silly conversation. But if we talk about it on a per capita basis, I think Dorset has to win.
I think so. It must.
Because you have the connection there, although you just enlightened me. I thought you grew up there. I don't know why, but yeah. So you were kind of call it home now because that's where your parents live. So your
Right.
mom's there, you're there. Tara Farone, who's also been on the podcast, she
Yep.
is Pip and Rue. Although she may have been on the podcast before we were on YouTube, so you might not be able to go back and watch.
Oh, when it was alive. Yeah.
Yes, yes, what in the old technology.
Right.
And then Brooke. So it's amazing that there's all this needlepoint
Yeah.
talent. And
I know.
But
It's
I
kind of,
think it's a tiny little town. Is it as small as I think it is?
it's small. Yeah. I don't know like any facts about it, but yeah, it's teeny.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's
Well,
pretty,
you're allowed to, you can grade it because you've lived in so many cities. You're allowed to say what cities are small and big.
yes. It's a small little like village.
Yeah, I just think that's crazy. That's totally
Yeah, it's really funny, actually. It's just kind of bizarre, but it's
nice.
cool. It's good.
So, hello, Tess. Your rebranding was how long ago?
I think it was like a year and a half or 2 years ago. So it wasn't that long ago that I did that. We were here in Phoenix when I did it.
Okay, there you
I feel
go.
like I've lost track of all time also, but
Oh, well, for anyone who's not watching this when we first dropped the episode, it is July. I almost said June. July of 2021. And of course, I don't think anyone has any sense of time. It's all been like one big mush factor
yep.
since last March. So, but we're on the outside of it. We all
Yeah,
hope so. We'll see.
exactly.
And so you had another very phenomenal experience since you've been in Phoenix.
Yes.
I'm leading you into the most famous needlepoint Instagram baby that there is.
Lottie Loo Hoo.
It's so darn cute. I swear to
Yeah.
God, I think you get
It,
more comments on how cute she is than
I
anything else, and rightly so.
I know. She's really funny. She's not only cute, she's like hysterical. So she makes us laugh. It's fun. She's teething right now, but she's got like so many teeth coming in. I don't even know what's happening anymore. It's like they're all coming in at the same time, but we're hanging in there.
Good, good.
Yeah, yeah.
She's darling. You are so cute because you always post pictures of her
Mm.
watching my yarn manager at my shop when
Oh
she's
yeah,
on Instagram or me.
we love dark time and we love unboxing and Wow Wednesdays. Yeah, we hang out and watch them.
That's so cute. Well, Dorothy's darling. So
Thank
congratulations
you.
on that. That's exciting. So obviously you stitch. We've covered that territory, and I know that you knit because
Yeah.
you knit up a ton when you were pregnant. I know with Dorothy.
Yes. During
Was,
quarantine.
did you have you always knit, or did you teach yourself how to knit during quarantine?
Oh, I like what was it? Oh, in New Orleans, actually I'm in recovery and I got sober when I lived down in New Orleans. And so my friend,
Same city.
I know, I think that's also what attracted me to New Orleans when I moved there.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, this is my kind of drinking town. It's like
You could be sober in New Orleans. You could be sober anywhere.
exactly and the recovery there is fantastic. It's really amazing. Yeah. Um, but my friend taught me how to knit. So I actually knew how to knit before I knew how to needlepoint.
Oh, see, I'm learning all these things about you. That's great.
Yeah, I hadn't even. That's funny. I just like feel like I just learned that about myself too. I hadn't even thought of that. So yeah, my friend taught me because it was just like something to do, keep your hands busy, and so that's when I learned. And then I didn't pick it up again for a long time. Once I started needlepointing, needlepointing just kind of took over, and then I knit a little bit like here and there. And then recently when quarantine hit, I was just like doing everything I could to stay busy. I mean, I literally found out I was pregnant in March, in the beginning of March, right? What like days before, like, I mean, I remember my husband was like, I think you should start thinking about like not going out. And I was like, psh, what are you talking about? You're crazy. And then like a couple days later, it was like people were like talking about quarantining and lockdown. And I was like, oh my God.
I
So
still
nuts.
think that all of us can't even believe like what's happened in the last year and a half of our lives.
You know, that's crazy.
But
Yeah.
lots of silver linings that have come on it out of it.
Yes. Yes. And the nice thing about, I've gotten to really like connect with Dorothy because it was just like the two of us and my husband. It was just the three of us for like, the first 3-4 months that she was born. So
Right.
that was the one thing I can say that was nice is that we really got to like spend that time together and, you know,
Yep.
bond.
And it was good with kids of all ages because all of my kids came home and
Oh, did they?
they were 19 or 18 and 22. So my just graduated adult children came back to
Oh, nice.
nest, and
Yeah.
my sophomore in college came home. She's a sophomore. I see. I can't even keep track of days and times.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, she was a sophomore because when she went back as a orientation counselor at Tulane, she's like, "Mom, these freshmen are crazy. They're going to give me COVID."
Oh, gosh.
That's so I guess it was freshman year because then she went back, but we digress. So
Yeah.
anyway, they all the kids came home and all
That's
five
so
of
nice.
us under the same roof, and I never had thought that would happen again after my older
Oh,
ones.
that's nice. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's definitely silver linings for sure.
yeah, yeah. But that said, I think we're all glad we're coming out of it for sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Um, well, let's get back to the needlepoint fun.
Okay.
So you knit and you needlepoint. Any other craft? And obviously you paint. So any
Yeah.
other crafty things in your world or arty things?
Um, I've been drawing a little bit, but nothing, those are pretty much the main ones, I would say.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Um, so tell us about your needlepoint line. So
Mhm.
I think a lot of people think of you as having like a southwestern line, but I feel like that's a generalization.
Yeah,
So
definitely. I definitely have some Southwestern pieces. Um, I've always liked like the Southwestern look, like I've always also really liked like Turkish kilim rugs and pillows and just, I'm a real sucker for like any kind.
uh-oh, am I freezing or are you freezing? We don't need this. I'm going to pause this for. Okay, so we had a little internet unstableness, I guess, and we left with a cliffhanger. So you're a sucker for is where last I heard.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for textiles. So, and I always have been. And I really love, and I've always loved like the old needlepoint, like the old textile needlepoint, just like really, I just love it.
The
Um,
tapestry type things.
yeah, yeah. And so then I think that's where some of my like geometric stuff comes from, is just like the textile and patterns and stuff like that. And I also just really, I've always loved folk art. And so I think, I think that's basically where I get most of my inspiration from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, very fun. So yeah, I think you have a wide variety. So if people haven't checked out your website, I'm going to throw this in here right now because every time I go to your website, I go to the wrong place. So there's
Oh,
a hellotest.com, and that is not you.
oh, okay. Yeah.
It's not terrible. I can't remember what it is. It always asks if you want it to listen to it in German or see it in German or English.
Oh, yeah. Some German company.
Yes,
Yes. I
yes.
remember
So your hellotestdesigns.com, and I'll put that in the show notes. But
that.
just in case anyone pauses to say, oh, wait, I want to go check out what she's talking about, it's
Yeah.
hellotestdesigns.com.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think you've got a lot of like variety in your line. Personally, I think a lot of your designs are very well suited for a newer stitcher. They're not super complicated. And I say that in a very positive way. I don't mean
Yeah.
that negatively at all.
Yeah.
Uh, because a more uh, experienced stitcher can do a lot with it. A newer stitcher can basket weave away and be very happy and content and not feel like they want to stick a needle in their eye, which,
Yeah.
not where you want to start.
Yeah. I don't think I do much like shade. I don't do much or any shading or anything, I just, because I guess I stitch what I paint what I would like to stitch. So,
Right. And you had indicated that one of the reasons you started stitching was as like stress relief and a
yeah.
calming thing, and I think that shows in your line for sure.
Thanks. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. Um, so what were some of your first designs? I know the first ones I had in my shop, so I'm gonna guess after you tell me if I see if I'm right.
Yeah. So some of my first were the No Drama Llama. Do you know that one?
No, I mean I
I
do, but
have
I
a bunch
didn't.
of pillows here too. Should I show them?
If you have them, sure. We always like show and tell.
This is this is the No Drama Llama pillow.
Oh, okay. Yes, I just didn't know that that's what it was called. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. So it's like a kind of a folksy take on some llamas, I guess you can say.
And llamas kind of seem to be all the rage right now. So you were
Yeah,
like,
there was definitely like a llama period for sure.
I love it.
Yeah, so that was one of my first, and um, the Busy Bee canvas, which is a smaller square. That was my
Oh,
first.
oh, I love my bees.
I love your bee necklace. So pretty. And then this one, the Monstera Mucha,
Love that one.
which was also one of my first. And this pillow I love. This was finished by Stitch Boutique in Boston.
Really pretty.
It's such a beautiful job.
Yeah, just very simple, but perfect.
Yeah, exactly. And I did like I think that's what is it called? Mosaic
Yep.
background. Yeah. Yeah, so those are some of the first designs.
Okay. And I
Yeah.
think you had, when the first market I met you at, you had just come out with Good at Naps.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, hold one of those for me.
Yeah.
Messaging you on Instagram because I love that pillow. I mean, we all need to be really good at something. And truth be told, I'm not good at naps. Like,
I am so good at them.
you know, I had a sorority sister at Tulane who we would go to the library together, and she'd say, "I'm so tired. I'm gonna put my head down for 20 minutes. Will you wake me up?" I'm like, "Wait, what?" Like
Well,
that would never work for me. And I was
gotta,
so jealous of that skill, so
yeah, you
jealous.
gotta get a nap in where you can, right?
And she'd just wake up like totally refreshed. And
Wow.
so
Yeah,
I
that's
think
amazing.
that pillow's darling. And your finish on that with the pom poms again. I think you're seeing pom poms everywhere now, and you were kind of ahead of the curve on that. So
Yeah, that was done by Quail Run. They do a beautiful job too on finishing.
nice, nice, very fun. Yeah, so I think that was one of the first things I carried from you, and then I hate to say I love because then it's going to sound really repetitive, but I love you to the mountains and back.
Oh yeah. And I
Really,
have
really.
that on 18 and 13.
So I think it's like a beautiful, like it's very simple again, in like a good way. Like there's nothing complicated about it, but everything comes together so well. So
Yeah, I love that one too. It's a good one. Thanks.
yeah. So your first designs are clearly still in your line.
Hmm.
And how many pieces do you have in your line now? Do you know around?
There's about, I think like 125, 126.
Nice.
Yeah, so we're getting up there.
And you've got a lot of small pieces and some bigger pieces. There's a really nice variety.
Yeah.
So I know that you've also, in terms of, we talked about like your different business organizations in terms of you and Brooke at one point being together, and then you were branding your own name. But I think you've also gone back and forth a little bit on being wholesale only and then selling direct. And I know that now you are back to being wholesale only. So I think it's interesting to hear. I'm there. You're a very smart woman, and so I know there were good thoughts behind those moves. So I think it would be interesting to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been like kind of a crazy road, like a weird journey, but like I um I was wholesale only for quite a while, and then I think it was like right when quarantine hit. I always wondered like what would it be like to like in terms of if what I just was wondering what it would be like to retail. So I thought that was a good time to try it out because everybody's at home and shopping online, and shops are closed, and so I tried it, and
We're all trying to do whatever we could to make sure our businesses stayed our
yeah,
businesses, and that's
yeah, exactly.
so I respect that for sure.
Yeah, so I'm glad I tried it because I mean I love needlepoint shops, and I don't know if you can. I mean, I'm always trying to like post about shops and promote them, and because like I said, I grew up in a needlepoint shop, and I want them around. Like I want them to be in existence, and I want to do whatever I can to help make that happen. And support needlepoint shops. So I didn't like I just didn't feel it didn't wasn't like sitting well with me. I just didn't like the retailing. I don't know. And so now I went back to wholesale, and I just feel it's the way for me to go. It just
Yeah,
feels right. Yeah.
The shops appreciate that because we'd like to be around in a while. And,
Yeah.
I think that especially when the world fully opens up, most people learn how to stitch in a needlepoint shop. Not everybody has a good friend or an aunt or a grandma or a cousin or whatever that will teach them. And so sometimes you have to go somewhere where there's someone that you don't know from Adam that will teach you. And,
Right.
without the needlepoint shops, that's a big piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, I think it can be a little intimidating to try and learn by yourself online,
Yeah.
So
Certainly can. And I like to think that like our podcast is adding some value by, some of our obviously evenings are spent with fabulous people like you. And sometimes it's Megan and I just throwing out some tips and tricks and, trying to educate people in a little bit of a way. And there's, hopefully that's adding some value, but there's nothing better than sitting down with a teacher. And even though I've been stitching since I was 7, nothing makes me happier than when I can get my way into some national teachers class because there's always more to learn.
yeah,
Really
yeah, amazing.
well, we appreciate you, you know, trying something out and realizing that it wasn't the right thing and coming back to the fold, I
Yeah,
guess, because we want to be here too. And it's a big circular industry, and we all try to take care of each other. So we appreciate
exactly.
that. So maybe that's part of one of my things I was going to ask you, like, how have you dealt with the challenges of COVID? What have you seen happen? What are your feelings about the last 15 months,
Yeah,
point wise?
yeah. Well, as you know, just the inventory was pretty much I mean, it was just a disaster. So I think I'm now getting stuff that I definitely, yeah, had ordered a year ago, you
Wow.
know. Yeah. Yeah. So there was just a big chunk of time where nothing was coming in. And I remember like at one point I did a live and I was trying to show some new stuff, but then it's sort of like just kind of falls off the radar a little bit because then so that was just like a real struggle,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, you're trying to
And-
keep in business when you really have just ideas and pictures to sell and not actual product is
right.
tricky.
I was also just like so pregnant that I like was uncomfortable sitting, so I wasn't really able to do much painting. Um, so I know a lot of designers were doing that where they were painting stuff themselves. So I was just sort of, I don't know what I was doing. I was just like trying the best I could. And I would paint things here and there, but I couldn't just like crank things out.
And then you had a new baby, so then you couldn't just crank things out either because
Yeah,
they were more
I
important
was, yeah,
to fry.
exactly.
Great.
Yeah.
Aw. Um, so we talked about some of your first designs in your line. What are some of your best sellers?
Best sellers. I would say Good at Naps is up there. Stay Wild, My Child
Yeah.
is really popular. And then I brought these out. The clutches, like the geometric
Oh,
clutch
pretty.
bags, are pretty popular. That
Yeah.
one. And then there's this guy, and I actually think I'm gonna try and do some more like geometric designs. So
Love
that's
them.
maybe something I'll work on soon.
And is there something in your line that obviously I would think that anything an artist creates, they loved when they created it. Is there anything that I would hate to use the word as your worst seller or something that you thought was really great that just isn't getting
Yeah.
the love that you feel it deserves?
Yeah. My folksy canvas. So I love this. It says folksy. I don't know if it's backwards.
Nope, it's forward on this setting. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So I like love, I like, but it's not one of my best sellers. I'll just say that. But I had it finished with like this really cool fabric. Yeah. So
Right.
it's just really simple and basic, and not everybody feels folksy all the time, I guess. So, it's going to take a specific person to want to stitch that maybe.
Well, we've had on the course of this podcast, Megan and I like to ask that question. So then a lot of times afterwards, people go, I love that piece and they go and order it. So you never know.
Right.
You might see a little uptick in folksy people in your world.
That'd be great.
We'll find out.
Mhm.
Personal favorite? I know it's like asking who your favorite child is, but you only have one child right now, so it's a safe question.
Yeah. It's funny. I was just thinking about like designing and like sometimes things are like not as easy to do. Like sometimes designs just like pour out. And then there's times where it takes a little bit more work. Um, and so I feel like anything that is just like poured out of me is like part is going to be like one of my favorites. So I'm trying to think like, oh yeah, this one. I'm just showing all the pillows that I have, but Mikasa Sukasa is one of my favorite designs. And then recently I came up with one, Wash Day.
Yes.
I really like that one. It's just like a new, design that. And then,
That feels like a little like of that folk art that you said that you've always been attracted to. That's what
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it's sort of that came out a little bit in that one for sure. And then I
I
always loved Monstera Mucha. It's like just like an oldie but a goodie.
classic through and
Yeah,
through.
yeah.
Good. Good. So anything that is coming up the pike that you want to share with us?
Yeah, I'm thinking about maybe doing a sampler. Just like I don't know, I feel like they used to be made and now they're just like they don't get done anymore. So I
Sure.
think that would be cool and fun. And then I probably will come out with some more of the 5-inch squares, the little on 13 mesh.
That have
I
that have the repeat,
What's that?
the
Oh,
repeated pattern.
yes, yes. Yeah, exactly. And I was thinking about doing, and I think I talked to you and Megan about it, doing Bless You in the 5-inch
Yeah.
square for the acrylic tissue box.
Yeah.
So I thought that would be cute.
That would be really great. Well,
Yeah.
good. Look forward to that. Um,
Yeah.
I meant to ask you this earlier, so this question is kind of out of context, but
Mhm.
having been a stay-at-home mom myself, which I think for the most part you are, but yet you have this great career as well. When do you find time to work, and how do you fit it in your day?
Yeah. I mean, it's been really hard to kind of like figure it out. We're still sort of trying to figure it out. Um, but I try and get work done when she naps, which she used to be a really great napper. I don't know that that's going to continue, but basically when my husband gets off work, I I actually work in we call it our casita. It's the guest house. So I
Oh,
moved out there during the pandemic. And so when he gets off work, I'll go out there and get some stuff done. And then basically on the weekends when I can get in there. So, but it's definitely a lot slower. Like I've had to sort of accept that part, where it's like you have to sort of find the balance. And it's definitely a work in progress with, figuring out when I can find the time. But, that's good.
a good friend of mine's father used to always say, "There's a time to grow kids, and there's a time to grow grass."
Yeah,
I feel
100%.
like
Yeah,
that's there's other more important things right now, and you balance it
exactly.
best you can. And
Hmm.
I'll sound like some old lady saying to you, "You're gonna blink, and she's gonna be in school, so enjoy it while you can."
Yeah, it's already happening all way too fast. So I
So
really, yeah, just trying to soak it all up.
good, good,
Yeah.
great. Let me see if I had anything else I was going to ask you. Oh, I know what I meant to ask you about. When I was looking at your website, you have a couple things that say designed by Lily Soul.
Yes, and I should have brought those canvases in here. So Lily is an amazing painter. Um, I'm so bummed I didn't bring them. Maybe I'll do a post or something dedicated to it. But
Want me to pause us? You can go grab them, or is that too
yeah,
disruptive?
I mean, I can. Oh, I only have one of them actually. The other sold out. So maybe I'll just do a post about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, so she does these amazing, they're called like flower women, and she just like all these like amazing women, and she uses like real flowers in her actual paintings.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I just stumbled across her artwork one day. I think I was randomly on Instagram, like it was during the pandemic. um, and she just has such beautiful work, and I was like, these would be gorgeous in needlepoint. So I reached out to her and she was so excited to collaborate. And so we did that. And I hope to make some more of her stuff, you know, to get some
And
more
that
of
goes
it on.
back a little bit to our earlier conversation. Some needlepoint designers slash distributors will take a piece of art and it's licensed artwork and they just kind of plop it on a canvas, so to speak. And
Yeah.
then call it painterly. That's
Yeah.
the word to me. But what you're really doing is basically copying her things, but
Right.
making sure it's stitch painted at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's sort of really tricky. Because I had never done that before. So I basically, you know, printed out a photocopy of, and I sized it the way you know, because you don't want it too big and you don't want it too small. So you got to figure out the sizing. And then I just put it under the canvas and like started with a Sharpie to like just start with like sections. And then have to get a little bit more intricate with the actual stitch painting and the colors and the sections. And then with like their eyes, you know, like it was a little off, like that stitch needed to be moved. And so it was a long process, but I think they came out really well. So
Well, translating to canvas is an art in and of itself. So, and
yeah, definitely.
great. I don't know why I hadn't noticed that before until I was kind of reviewing things tonight.
Yeah,
So,
and I've been meaning to post about them, so I'm gonna do that. So if somebody is watching this and wants to see, I'll go ahead and post about them.
great. I think Megan might even have them in stock. So,
Yeah, she did. She ordered some of them. Yeah.
yeah, they're really great. Really great. Anything else we haven't talked about that you wanted to share with our little needlepoint world?
I don't think so. I think we've pretty much covered it.
Well, good. Well, I so appreciate you spending time with me. And oh, you know what we didn't cover
But
is I hope that maybe I'll see you in November. Will you
oh,
go to our market in Dallas, maybe?
I really am hoping to.
Brand spanking new, hot off the presses. So I'm sure
Yeah.
not everybody has plans yet, but I'm excited about it. So
Yeah, I would really, I mean, I saw that last night and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Here
yeah,
comes Dorothy. Should Dorothy have a little cameo?
absolutely, we need a cameo. Sure. So here's our needlepoint famous Instagram baby. Yeah, she is so darling, Ted. So cute.
Hi.
Yeah. You're so sweet, Miss Dorothy. And your mama was saying you were a screamer. Not right now.
You say hi? Gosh,
Uh,
it's so hot outside. They were just walking from the casita to the house. It's like she's already like very warm. Okay, I know you probably want to grab everything.
okay. Well, I'm glad she popped in at the end. That's really fun to see her.
Yeah.
And now she'll be like even more famous
I
Instagram.
know.
She'll be a famous YouTube baby.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Well, thank you again for
Thank
spending
you so
time.
much. Yeah, this was really fun.
Thank you. And I will again put your website name in our show notes. And
Okay.
if anyone's watching and is interested in your pieces, reach out to your local needlepoint shop, whoever that may be, and they will place their order. So we appreciate your time, my dear.
Okay, thanks, Melissa.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.